This is Nathan Stanford. We're back to working on the CF form. This is a ColdFusion form that we're working on, and we're also including HTMX so that you can see how you can use ColdFusion and how you can use HTMX in your applications. I took it out of dark mode so that when we get an error you can see it better. It's still got text that's hidden because of this, but when we get this working, we'll little by little put it back in dark mode so you can see it that way. When I last was here, I had an issue with the database. It crashed afterwards. So I rebuilt the database, and it only has one user in there now, but what we'll do is we will say we're going to register, and we're going to put in a user. We're going to call it Night Coder. And I'm going to say Night Coder, or actually let's make it Night Coder, actually right there, Night Coder Test. And we're going to put in a password. And then we're going to hit register. Now, it did insert, and it does look like it's working, but it didn't because I don't have it put in the session yet. I just had it automatically output whatever when it did register. If it all worked correctly, it would simply output it right there. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go in and finish that process so that it will be putting out from the session variable instead. So let's go in here and let's go back to the register. So if we look back here, we're in this form, the home page, and when we clicked on register and we submitted it, it went to submit user. So then that would be right here. That's submit user. And this is the insert. So when this happens, what we want to do is we want to add. So here I'm outputting the username. It's where you're seeing the username. But what we want to do is simply say CF set. Okay, hold on, let me look here. You don't get here if the insert, okay, so if there's an error, it will stop. So we're going to CF set session. Actually, right before I do that, let's go look it up. So we have session.user. So if I go back here and I go to register, and let's see here. Let's actually go to the index page, and we're going to output the session variable. We're going to do a CF dump, paste in session user, and we're going to look at that. So let's leave this like it is. Let's open this in a new tab. So here is the session variable. It's all empty. So we see there is username, that's the Night Coder. There's the password, the email, all of this information. So we're going to turn authenticated. Here, let's just take a copy of all this. That's the properties that we want to change inside of the user, the session that's in the user. So if I simply say, okay, let's get rid of this, go back to submit user. Here you're inserting the user. So let's say we want to take care of all of those. So here, it's going to get the next ID. So let's first start with here, let's do this. Let's say we want to get the user name, get the user by username. Now, I could insert most of these automatically, but what we're going to do is we're going to actually, after it's inserted, we're going to do a query to get this database information that we're going to be using, so that way we make sure we're getting the correct information. So I'm going to say get user, and we're going to say CF query, and so when you insert, you're going to want to get the user. So let's see here. There's multiple ways to do this. Let's actually do it this way this time. We're going to select and get everything from member where user name equals, and then we want it to be CF query param. No, I don't want to do it that way. CF query param. Let's come down here. Okay, fine. CF query param. Here we go. CF query param. Let's go with name. The name we want to pass in is this name that we are using here. That's the username, but we are going to put that here. SQL here, varchar. CF SQL varchar. I meant to say CF SQL type equals varchar. This way, it will go get the user's information, and then it will store it in all of these areas. So let's go to our CFC, and let's look at user info. So we have these properties. We have a thing called assessors set to true, which means it sets getters and setters for each of these properties. There is no ID in here, so we're going to add ID, and it's going to be member ID, and it's going to be numeric because it is the primary key. So let's go back because I accidentally closed it. So here is that. No default. So now when I get here to this point in time, it should be empty. So what we're going to do is we probably need to reset the application to get the session to pull in. Here, let's do this. Let's comment this out. Comment this out. And then we will rerun it. And we will dump the user information like this, where it will output what's coming in. So let's just start this over. We click on Home, we click on Register, and I'm going to just have it pick some random information because this is a temporary user. Register, and so now it tried to register, but it crashed. So something in here I've changed. Okay. Let's see, form.username. It's coming from the form. So let's see if that fixes it or not. Register. Okay. Fine. Let's go make sure it's not inputting anything in. We'll go to the data source. We'll right click and say just show me all of them. We have 2 in here. So let's see here. Let's minimize this. So this one's not getting in. Let's see here. So here we're saying username, form.username. So all of this would normally work, except I've added this information down here. So let's just do that and make sure it's still working like we think it is. So if I come back here and I hit register, there it is. It worked. We just need to be careful what we're adding here. So what we need to do is figure out why this query is not working. What I'm going to do is simply go to the home page once again. Here's the query, cf dump, get user. So now, when we do like this, we go here like this, that is, hit refresh. It's throwing a CF query param because I misspelled something here. Let's just go back here. Let's compare it to, let's see here. Let's compare it to the ones up here. We know these are working. We'll just grab a copy of here. Let me come down here. I'm not inserting. Oh, whoops. Let's go back to here. Sorry. So CF query param. There was not a form variable coming here, so we are going to change the name test123. We're going to see what happens. Actually, let's not even do that. Let's just get everything, and we will dump everything out, and we'll go from there. So right now, if you hit refresh, we should get down here a list of all of the users that are coming from these queries. So we see right here we got JSample. We want to, let's look at what number he's ID, member ID is 1. So let's go back here and say where member ID equals 1. Now let's just hit, let's actually move this. I don't like it being all the way at the bottom. I'm going to put it up here at the top to make it easier for us to see. So if I come up here and I hit refresh, so now I've got all of this coming in. Okay, so that's an object and that's an object. That's fine. We'll worry about that in a minute. But as you can see, here's a username over here. So we want to be able to have the ID. So let's see here. Let me close that because I keep trying to open that. Let's just stay here. Okay, so what we're trying to do what we're going to do is we're going to try this again. We're going to register. Let's just type this in right here instead. Julie Robert. Nope. Let's just do the fake name so I don't have to think about this. So we're doing a fake name, but right before we submit, we want to get this code ready. So first thing we need to do is we're going to set all these variables down here. So we're going to first have to get the next ID. Here, get the last inserted ID. Now what we could do is we could query the database, get the last inserted ID, but then we'd have to lock this all down to make sure no one else has hit it. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to, after we do the insert, we're going to do a CF query name, and we're going to say we want to get last ID, and then we want to do CF query. That's the end of it. We're going to say select last insert ID as new ID. Whoops, ID. Then what we'll do with that, let me take this through, new ID. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say CF set. Actually, let's do CF script. And we're going to CF script So this is just getting us the ID. So let's do one step further. We're going to copy paste. We're going to then do get user info. And actually, I think what I might do is this. I will say select all from member. Did I have it called member or members? Let's see here. It's member. And when we look at the columns, you see member ID. Okay, so let's minimize this. We'll come back here. And we're going to where the member ID equals get last ID dot new ID. So this will go get the information, and it's coming from up here. So then once it gets the information, let's just do a CF dump to see, did it go get the correct user information? Then we'll worry about setting the information into the session variable. So if we go back here, we have this login right here, username. I'm going to get rid of the underscore. And we're going to hit register, and we'll go see if it's got that in the name. So now it didn't come back, but when we go to, let's see here, this is because it's part of, okay, let's do this. We need to set the session variable. So I was thinking I could dump it because we're in, it came back and it didn't display on our page. So that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to say session.user. Okay, so we want to do get member ID. And we want to do session, if we go look at the list of columns, we've got username, email, password. We'll skip password, username, email. We'll just do username and email for now. Username. And then we want one more of these. We want email. And then what we want to do is we want to say set get user info dot member ID. And then we want to do the same thing, get user info. I believe it's user info. If not, it might just be user. I'll go find that out in just a minute, but let's just do this first. User name, and then we'll do the same thing down here. Let's copy that part and paste just that first part. Email. Now let's go back and look. I think username, email. Oh, I'm looking for, so that's the query. That's right up here. So yes, definitely. So that should set the variables. One more variable we want to set that's kind of important, coming from this object, user info. There it is. And what we want to do, interesting. I thought I had one called is authenticated, and it's going to be Boolean. I'm not sure, but it may need to be byte. What we might do now is if this exists, then I will have to double check on this one. I know there's a way to do it in Boolean, but I don't have this. And when I go look at the database, I don't have is authenticated. So let's see here. When I look at the database, it does have the join date, and it also puts the last activity in the same. No posts. Okay. So let's just try to see if we get something in the session. So if I come back here and I say cfdump session.user, I think it's just .user. Whoops. I think it's just .user. So if we go look here in application, yeah, so we got user. Okay, so we got, that's the one we want. So when we go here, I submit it, we want to update session user. There we go. So and it's getting, user is getting the models.user. So we look at models. Oh, hold on a minute. Yeah, so we're using the wrong one. I'm supposed to be using this one. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, well, let's figure out where I'm at. This user info is probably a one I use somewhere else. So I'm going to actually delete this one, so I can't accidentally use it again. So now what we want to do is we're getting this, and then we want to set username. Now let's go back and look at the code. That's probably part of the problem I was having. So when we get here, let's just do, instead of username, what do I have in this other object? I do have username, so username, email, and ID. So if I go back here, member ID is wrong. It's just ID. Getting from the user info from the database, in the database it's named member_ID. From the object that we're calling, it's just called an ID. That's fine. So now we can dump this session.user. When we dump it here the first time, we should not be logged in. It should not be existing. And so let's come back here and let's grab this. That defaults to false. So what we want to do is come here. If we've made it this far, they've been able to log in. User.get, no, not get, set. And I do want to set, but it's just not here. I don't want to set, let's see, I'm getting it, and then I'm setting it. Okay, all three of these are wrong, so I had it right after all. We're trying to set the information coming from the get user info into the session.user.set, and then want to capitalize that is authenticated, and we want to say true. I don't know if I need to have single quotes or not. Let's just go see what happens. Okay, I probably have this right now. In case I don't, let's do, well, I can't dump there. Oh well, let's see if I've got this, see if it works. If not, we'll figure it out. That's part of the process of learning. So you click on home. We see nobody's logged in. We say we want to register. We pick this to make some fake data. We click, notice the name. We click register. And now if I click on home, it didn't do it. It didn't set it. Okay, that's good to know. Let's just try something. Let's actually come back here and let's set some fake data on this page, because we want to see this work. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to paste, and then instead of getting this information from the database, we're just going to make up some information so that we can see if it's working. And I'm going to say 1, even though it's definitely fake data. So you know what, let's say 0. Fake data, so might as well be a fake ID. And we will say in Stanford, and and then we will come down here and say instanford@test.com, and then we will make it true, and then down here we will dump it. So let's just see if we've got that right. We don't. Invalid token at line 7. Oh, okay. Let's just do that because it's supposed to be numeric. And this one's supposed to be string, so I'm pretty positive that one would not have worked. So let's go back here and hit refresh, reload. So it gets there and it crashes. So let's see if we can figure out why. Let's start by commenting out each of these. So now we only have one that we're, oh, hold on. Okay, fine. Let's comment it out for a second. Reload. So we're getting this information. Let's just pick this one here in the middle. We're trying to set the username to inStanford. So let's see here. If you click on methods, we go like this, and we're looking for username. Get the username, but we want to set the username. So you go through this and you look. Set username is right there. We pass in the username. It's required and is a public access right now. So what we can do is simply say we should be able to do this, and then when we dump it, we should be able to see it. So let's find out. There we go. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out what email. Let's add the email one. So that's this one. Set email. That looks correct. And let's see it work before I do another one. Hit refresh. So email is in there. ID is set to 0. Let's actually say 1 this time. And before I do the authenticated, let's do that. And it crashed when I set the ID equal to 1. I know the ID is a primary key. And I know, oh, member ID is coming from the database, but this is not even hitting the database. This should be coming from here, and it's an integer. Default is 0. Okay. Why is this not working? Okay, well, I'm going to stop at this point, and on the next video, if you know the answer to why this isn't working, let me know. If not, don't worry. We will get it worked out for you, and we'll show you what to do to figure that out. I think I know what it is, but I'm leaving it there so that you have something to look at. If this is your first time finding me, please subscribe. If you like my videos, that helps me to continue making them. I only have so much time after work to be able to do this, and I enjoy doing anything I can to help other people. So please subscribe, like my videos, comment to me, let me know what you like. If you see errors I make, that's okay. Some of the errors, believe it or not, are on purpose so that it is a training tool, because when you're at work, you can't call someone and ask for help. You have to figure it out on your own sometimes. So hopefully this works for you. Thank you for watching.